So what makes up the veterinary services in Ghana here?
Now, veterinary services in Ghana has an oversight by the Veterinary Council of Ghana. The veterinary services is doing a very good job in the country, and it's time we shed light on some of these things. So Dr. Bugri will walk us through some of the things with the veterinary services with regards to the private sector.
And I think most people might have experienced the private sector more than the government sector. Especially if you are
in Accra.
Yeah. Yes. So the private sector is made up of.
Right now, we have 3 different veterinary professionals and paraprofessionals. A veterinarian is technically the veterinary doctor. We talk about the paraprofessionals. That is where we have the nurses and then the technicians.
Hello everyone, welcome again to the Vet Podcast. So today we want to delve into a very important subject. People have asked us questions, we've heard people inquire about these things, and today we want to look at a topic that we have titled the veterinary services in Ghana. So simply put, we want to just show you what entails, what makes up the veterinary services in Ghana here, so that you can make the right decisions in case you want to, let's say, go into farming, you have a pet or anything, how to navigate, how to seek for help when you need it, and all those things. So just stick around, and I believe that you'll be very entertained, you'll be very educated throughout this episode.
So today, like Dr. Bugri mentioned, we are looking at veterinary services in Ghana. Now, veterinary services in Ghana has an oversight by the Veterinary Council of Ghana. So when it comes to regulations and anything veterinary services, the council makes sure everything is in place in the country. Then there's the Veterinary Services Directorate, the government authority, that sees or makes sure that veterinary services in the government sector is done and done well. So these are the main bodies with regards to veterinary services in Ghana. Now, one of the things I want to bring our attention to is that the Veterinary Services Directorate is under the Ministry of Food and Agriculture. So they help in leading animal health policies and disease control related stuff. I mean, if you go to vsd.mofa.gov.gh, you find a lot more information there with regards to what I just mentioned. So in the government sector, like I mentioned, we have the Veterinary Services Directorate. And then we have the private sector, which Dr. Abugi will talk about later on. Then we have wildlife services in Ghana. And mostly, as of now, the Forestry Commission kind of like works hand in hand with the Veterinary Services Directorate in managing wildlife cases and wildlife-related stuff in the country. Then we have the Fisheries Commission dealing with the aquaculture, and we have some veterinary services also in the some veterinary services in the FDA.
Yes,
making sure things with regards to that, with regards to veterinary animal-related products are well done according to ethics and principles and veterinary-related activities. Let me go on to mention that there are also the veterinary pharmaceuticals aspect. Right now, there's let's say it's a balance between the two, the private and then the government sector. Both manages the veterinary-related products and vaccines and all. I mean, everything veterinary pharmaceuticals, both the private and then the government sector collaborate on that front. And also, there are vets in the airport who make sure that animal-related products are well screened before they enter the country, and also the ports and harbors as well. So these services in the veterinary sector, in the government sector specifically, ensures that things are affordable, they are done well, and challenges are mitigated as and when needed. And also we have the Accra Veterinary Laboratory under the Veterinary Services Directorate. They are doing a very good job. Dr. Odun, we give you a shout out for the good work you are doing with your team. And then the National Food Safety Lab,
Yeah.
Dr. Sasu, is also doing a very good job over there. So with the government sector, I mean, if we say we will go into details, it will last another episode.
Yeah.
Hopefully, we will get to record a full episode on veterinary services
Services.
in
Yeah.
the government sector for you to see the nitty-gritties of the whole thing. But they are doing a good job so far, regardless of the challenges and the funding and all that you can think of, and the staffing and all. I mean, they are doing a very good job, and I mean, I respect the work they are doing. Hopefully, some of us will get to join them as time elapses. One of the key things they are doing now is they are prioritizing livestock, poultry, and zoonotic disease prevention to protect the public. So most of the veterinary public health related stuff in Ghana is done by the VSD,
Yeah.
and they are doing a good job. When COVID hit, so let me give you this fact. When COVID hit us in the country, the Accra Veterinary Laboratory ran COVID samples.
I think they were one of the few labs that
Yes.
were accredited to run
Yes.
COVID samples. Yeah.
So the veterinary services ran COVID samples, human samples. So if you are there and you are thinking that veterinary people, they are doing nothing, please rethink, because the veterinary services is doing a very good job in the country, and it's time we shed light on some of these things. So Dr. Bugri will walk us through some of the things with the veterinary services with regards to the private sector.
So we've just looked at the government sector of the veterinary services, as Dr. Enim said. If you want to just delve into all of them, it might take a lot of time. But now I want to look at the private sector of the veterinary services in Ghana. And I think most people might have experienced the private sector more than the government sector. Especially if you are
in Accra.
Yeah, in Accra.
Yeah.
Yes. So the private sector is made up of private hospitals and clinics, and then private veterinarians that offer what we call ambulatory services or home services to people that need it. And so to many people, whenever they see they are taking their pets to the vets, they are usually taking them to the private sector of the country. So it just as in the human sector, we have government facilities and we have private facilities. The same thing with us. So as he already explained, those listed are the government facilities. Then we have the private facilities. So we have clinics and hospitals, and they all differ based on the level of sophistication, stocking, the level of equipment they have,
and then the staffing.
and the staffing. And so you might get one that might be a clinic, and might get one that is a full hospital. And so that makes the dynamics different. So you might experience something different from other place, because as usual, if you enter into a private hospital, you see something different from what you see in another place, depending on let's say the financial status of that clinic or that hospital. So that's just it. But one thing I just also note is that the private sector is mostly vibrant in Accra. And so Accra has the most amount of private hospitals or veterinary clinics in Ghana. As you move down,
no, as you move up the country,
up or down?
Up.
We are on top.
Yeah.
Right?
So Accra is less down.
So yes. So if you move up the country, you find less private facilities. And as you go towards my place, the north, Borga, those places, you find virtually no private hospitals there. They are all reliant on the government clinics that are being run by the veterinary services directly. So that's just an overview of the veterinary services in this country. A very important note, as you now know that we have private sectors and we have the government sector. Now, it will determine the finances, or how much you pay for their services, depending on which facility that you go to. So just as the human sector, in Ghana we have NHIS, right?
Yeah.
More for universal healthcare system.
Yeah.
That way. So if you go into a government hospital like Kwelebu, right? you pay less than if you enter into a hospital like UGMC. Because UGMC is fully private, it's privatized. So the same way, if you go into the government, the VSD run facilities, or what you call the clinics, enter there, their services are standardized, that they have been brought down to a certain level because government subsidizes them. So you go, the prices might be cheaper for you, but the one disadvantage you might find is that sometimes lack of funding for logistics, for laboratory services. So they are making do with just what they have.
They have. I think in Accra, at the Veterinary Services Directorate, yes, there's a lab there that takes care of that. But I mean, if you look at across the country, the Veterinary Services Directorate, I mean, probably let's take a place like Brekum.
Yes.
They don't have a lab.
Yes.
So they don't run samples over
there. You have to bring it all the way to either take it to Pont Tamale in the north,
or Doma,
or you have to bring it back to Accra.
So with regards to that, I mean, depending on where you find yourself in the country, you receive different services.
Yes. And then when you now come to the private sector, as you know, once it's private, there's no NHIS in the private sector. So there is no subsidy for you in the private sector. Yes. So if you go into the private sector, you are expected to pay more than you would if you had gone to the government sector. So when people say that, the veterinary services are quite expensive, you have to ask yourself, which services did you opt for?
Yeah. Where did you go?
Yeah. Because if you went into the government sector, that is based on your pocket, you get the services at subsidized fees. But if you enter into the private sector, as I once said, private sector is in for business. So yes, he will not subsidize and run at a loss. So they will give you the full charges that you have to pay. The same way if you enter into UGMC right now for medical care, you're going to pay a lot of dough. So that's just the difference. And yes, the private sector most of the times invest more into their facilities. So you find some of them with X-ray machines, some of them with ultrasound, some of them with laboratories inbuilt, and a whole lot. The environment is serene, it looks so beautiful because it's a private sector. And as you all know, in Ghana here, government hospitals and private sector hospitals, they are not the same. The services are totally different. So the same thing for or in the veterinary services.
And also one of the things you need to take note with regards to the private sector is the ambulatory part of it.
Yes.
Now, if you go to a hospital and you pay, let's say, X amount, if the person or whoever is coming to attend to you visits you in the house, it won't be X amount. It would probably be Y amount or Z amount.
With a multiplying factor.
With a multiplication factor.
Yes.
Because, I mean, because there is a certain level of risk with regards to the movement. I mean, these are technical stuff, so you should just...
I think what Dr. Iman wants anyone talk about is that in the hierarchy of how much you spend on veterinary services. We go to the government sector, which as we said is the lowest you can pay for. Then the private sector now has more or less it's one, but in private sector we have also ambulatory services where either some hospitals or clinics offer it or private veterinarians offer these services. So we call them home service or basically ambulatory services. So for ambulatory services, you are the comfort of your home. You call a clinic or a vet to come over to your house to offer the service to you. So one, you don't have the stress of taking your animal, transporting your animal to the clinic, through the traffic, through the heat, fuel, transport. No, your animal is relaxed because it is in this natural environment. You yourself, you don't have to spend time queuing at the hospital. You can go to work. And so it is more or less a premium service.
Like Dr. Winkma will say.
Dr. Winkma Felix will say it's a premium service, luxury service. So you are sitting in your home and you're asking for a VIP treatment. So
VIP
when
is expensive.
The hospital comes to your house, basically they are bringing the hospital to you. So when they come, definitely the price will be more than if you carried your animal there. Because one, the veterinarian coming to your house risk road accidents and all those things. He risks his life. Come sometimes midnight, people have emergencies. They have to come to your house. So all these things are factored in. Then with animals too, animals are more territorial, comfortable in their home. So if, let's say example, if you have noticed, when you take your dog or cat to the clinic, whenever they get there, some of them become more docile, but they smell the pheromone of other dogs, which are alpha dogs, and they become calm. So, but the reverse happens when they are in the home. That is their zone. They are the boss of that area. So when the veterinarian enters their house, they will threaten him. Some can be mauled, some can be bitten, and so the risk of being attacked when the vets come to your house is very high. So all these things are factored in. They've carried their instruments, everything they need, they bring to your house. They offer you services, personalized service. So that is why the ambulatory service is known to be more or less one of the most expensive veterinary services, because you are asking for a luxury service. So I always tell people, if you can't afford it, you always have the option of going to a government clinic or going to a private sector.
Going to the
hospitals
rather than
calling for a vet to come to your house. Because when a vet comes to your house,
Charlie,
you've asked for a VIP treatment. It's not the norm to call vets to your house. That one is a VIP treatment. So next time you are calling a vet to your house, you have to ask yourself those questions. Will you be willing to pay for such VIP treatment? If no, then you have to bear the cost and then carry your animal to your hospital or the government sectors where you can be charged less.
Even for those who visit the hospital and prefer the hospital to move to their house. Yes. I mean, it's not a private vet coming to your house. Yes. It's actually your facility, the hospital sending somebody over to the house. The cost is different.
Yes.
As against you taking your pet to the hospital. So we need to take note of these
dynamics
yes, of the veterinary services that is being offered in the country. Yes, we've talked about these services, but who are the people actually powering the service? So in Ghana, as we speak, right now we have 3 different veterinary professionals and paraprofessionals. We have the veterinary doctors, who, according to the Veterinary Council of Ghana, are recognized as veterinary surgeons. So either a veterinary doctor or a veterinary surgeon. If somebody comes to your house and they say they are a veterinarian, you can verify what kind of veterinarian they are. Are they a doctor or a veterinary surgeon? Then we have the veterinary technicians. Yes. Then we have the nurses. These people are different professionals. So let's look at something very technical.
Okay.
When we say a veterinarian, in the books, a veterinarian is technically the veterinary doctor.
Yes. Okay. That's the technical definition.
That's the technical definition, the veterinary doctor. Then we talk about the paraprofessionals. That is where we have the nurses and then the technicians. These individuals have different roles they play in the hospital setting, in the home setting. Before you allow somebody to attend to you, kindly take note of this, because if a doctor comes to you, a doctor will probably want to show that yes, they're a doctor, and they will offer you the services of a doctor.
Yes.
And would want to charge you based on how they serviced you. If a technician comes to you, a technician might want to charge differently.
Yes.
So is it with a nurse. So we need to, as individuals, we need to take note of these things, because if somebody comes to you and the person is a doctor and the person says, I'll charge you X amount, and you quote that, oh, but the other vet came and the person charged Y amount, you need to be sure the kind of professional they are. And one of the ways to know is to ask them of their verification. So every veterinary professional in the country has an ID. Yeah. So the technicians have their own ID, the doctors have their own ID, and the nurses have their own ID. And these IDs have colors, like I mentioned earlier on. We the doctors, we are blue, the nurses are yellow. The technicians, I don't recall off head right now. You need to ask them, because some people are going around claiming they are veterinary professionals, of which they are not, causing problems. And you see, if they cause the problem, oh, they said they are vets.
Yes.
And the problem, somebody sees you, are you veterinary people, cry, you people are not doing anything. And it's a problem.
It's a common thing. I've heard it many times. People say that these vets, they know what they are doing. These vets, they come and then they I'll call it, they mess up and all those things. But the issue is that, did you confirm whether the person is actually a registered veterinarian? Because people, we've had such issues where people, even on their Facebook page, put in titles as veterinary doctor, veterinary animal expert, or stuff, and they have no link to the veterinary services in Ghana. And so people are out there, some of them, they just kept animals for some few years, and they think that by their experience with keeping animals, they have gained enough. As I said, we went to school, whether the nurses, the technicians, the surgeons, we all went to school to learn the science behind what we do. It's not just about, oh, the dog is not feeling well, give this. The dog is vomiting, give para, or a cat is doing this, or the cow, the fowl. No, there's a science behind what you do. Even in the addition of drugs, you know what we call drug interactions, what these drugs can do, what are the side effects. All these things are not just things that you observe with experience. There are things that you learn the science behind it, then you now apply. So what we are saying is that there are quacks in the system. Some of them are giving bad name to the profession because people have not verified. So when they go and mess up, then they tag all of us as bad, or we are messing up. But to be frank with you, when you see the services of a professional, you will see it. The way they carry themselves, the way they speak, the way they perform their services. You understand that this is done from a place of understanding. It's not try and error. Try and error. No, we are not herbalists. I'll call that way. Or let me just say, we are not people who are always, it is traffic, who are always selling drugs that can kill everything. This is so cool. The one drug can cure like 1,000 diseases. No. What you do is scientific based medicine. So take note so that you don't fall victim. Because note this, legally speaking, if you have any issue with a service provided by an acclaimed vet or a so-called vet, if the person is not a veterinarian, you cannot have any form of legal recourse or any form of complaint. Nobody listen to you.
Yes,
because
the council won't mind you, because the council doesn't recognize the person.
So unless the person is a veterinarian, then your grievances can be heard and something can be done for you. And so for your own safety, for the safety of your animals, your farm animals, your pets, we will advise you that when a vet comes over to your house or to your farm, ask for their identification. When you get that, and it is, I think later we will share with you what we call VCG numbers.
Every veterinary professional's ID bears a number, and that particular number, you can keep it in mind and take the person on with regards to if something happens and you want to make an official complaint, which can be followed up. Because when you want to take legal recourse, any court-related issue, you need to be sure who you are reporting, yes, and the authority that is going to back your report. If you don't have such, you just let anybody treat your animals, who nobody can defend, yes, you. So you need to take note of some of these technicalities. We all love our animals. Okay, we love our pets, we love our cats, sheep, and goats. We invest money in them, emotions in them, and sometimes you want the very best, yeah, but there are times that things are not the best. And let me say this. Most often, like I mentioned in other videos, before we the vets are seeing the patient, no matter the kind of animal, the condition has degenerated to a point where sometimes once you see the animal, you know that this prognosis is not even guarded.
The probability is too low to calculate.
Yes.
10%.
You know that the animal is
loss.
gone, but you have to do something because you can't say you won't do anything.
Yes.
And there have been cases where I suggested to the farmer that there was a case where I suggested to the farmer that with this particular case, the most humane and best possible way to deal with it is to
Slaughter.
let the animal go.
Okay.
Dr. Abugri,
Yes.
how do we go about dealing with outcomes,
Outcomes.
as doctors from our end and also as farmers and pet owners
Okay.
or animal owners, because there are wildlife people who own wildlife that we visit.
Yes.
Yeah, so how do we handle it? Come from the perspective as a doctor and also the perspective as a pet owner. So deal with it from both ends, because most often we want to talk to the matter from our point of view, and it's really a disservice from the other end. So let's look at it from both sides. Somebody took care of my dog some years ago when I was in primary school, when I was in JHS. The dog died. And I thought, in fact, I blamed him for killing my dog. Meanwhile, it wasn't his fault. So let's look at it from both ends.
Okay, so I'll start with the angle of a farmer or a pet parent or someone that just keeps animals. So as in this age where, especially with pet parents, where people have become very attached to their pets. Now, pets have become members of the family. So basically, apart from mommy, daddy, children, Bingo is part of the family. And so when Bingo is sick, the family is concerned, the family is sad. And so sometimes, as we said, for them, because they're not able to tell us when they are sick, the time you see the signs and symptoms, the disease has already progressed to a very fast stage. And so when they come to hospital, you try your best and then the animal dies. From the point of view of the pet parents or the family, they might feel like either the vets did not do their best, or that once the animal is brought to the clinic, the animal should get better. And so when the unfortunate happens, the animal passes away. Sometimes we feel like either the service were not rendered well, or that mistakes happen, or that the pet shouldn't have died, or not, the animal shouldn't have died. And I've seen a lot of such situations where the animal comes in, it's almost gone, you do your best, and then animal will die. Sometimes you are called to a case where the disease has progressed past some number of days, and then you should try your best for the animal, and the animal passes away. And so it becomes sad. If you have invested both time and resources, you've paid for services, you have bought drugs and all these things, you expect that the animal should make full recovery. And it's fair as an owner, as a pet parent, to have such expectations. But now let's look at it from the point of view of we the professionals. Now, I keep saying this. Veterinarians are not magicians. We are not God. We are not Bruce Almighty. Neither are we Hercules, or neither are we Captain Planet. We are not people that can perform miracles. Just as in the human sector, that you can carry a family member to the hospital, they will do their best and you should lose that person. When you bring your pets to the clinic or a vet comes to your house, the vet coming to your house does not guarantee 100% survival rate or recovery for your animal. See, we have to stop giving some kind of unrealistic expectation for veterinarians, because you won't have that same expectation for your human doctor. You would expect that because you have carried your sick family member to the hospital, the person must survive, the person must make full recovery. Sometimes people fall sick, they make recovery, but they don't have the full full recovery. Their life is affected, all those things. Some go to the hospital, they don't come out. The same thing happens in our side or in our field. We do our best, but we lose the patients. And so do not be quick to blame the veterinarians when your pet dies, that they didn't do their best. Sometimes we invest a lot. I remember we did an episode on compassion fatigue.
Yeah.
And one of the saddest things that you can ever do to your vet is that upon the vet investing both their time, emotions, and everything, then you, instead of appreciation, you see that the person did not do their best for your animal, the person killed the animal. It breaks our hearts. I don't know. I've been in such situation
Charlie, the
where
vet killed my dog.
I
Hey.
did my best. I sacrificed a lot, and the animal still died. And the response of the owner really broke my heart. I really felt that was uncalled for, and that was a sign of I'll call it ungratefulness, because I'm not God.
And when such things happen, normally there are days that I remember I posted on LinkedIn one time about something that happened. My mom said, if you are looking for the approval of people, then you chose the wrong profession. So I think when it comes to the expectations, please manage your expectation.
Yes,
And if you think you have a problem, Charlie, seek a second opinion.
you're always allowed to.
You're always allowed to. There was this patient that I was taking care of one time. Um, I wrote a full medical history for the owner, and I said to whom it may concern.
Yes, what a
She
different guy.
felt she wasn't receiving the best of care. So I suggested if she prefers a second opinion,
Yeah.
she can go for it.
Yes.
So she did. She looked for a couple of other facilities. I wrote a full medical history,
Yeah.
typed and printed with lab results attached that she can go anywhere and seek medical opinion. One of the things I just want to chip in here is if you want to take the course of seeking second opinion, it's two things. It's either you request them to give you what they are doing, what they did, or because of privacy and all, some of the information are privileged and they will have to communicate directly to
The attending
the
veterinarian.
attending veterinarian you are seeking a second opinion from. Some information just can't be handed over to you. So these are things and technicalities around what we do. And legally, there are legal sanctions with regards to how we even go about it. And so if you want to seek a second opinion, there is a way to go about it. And if somebody is proving stubborn with regards to seeking second opinion, I think there's a way to go about it.
The vet counsel is available.
The counsel is always available to assist you with that. Yeah. And also, I think building trust and communicating is always key if we are going to work together to ensure animal safety. And so when it comes to veterinary services, please communicate and be truthful. If the thing started 2 weeks ago or 2 months
Just
ago,
say it.
just say 2 months ago. Because like I always mention, if you come to me or some of my other colleagues who I know are astute and keep records, what they see is what they will write. If the animal is emaciated and they suspect this thing has taken more months than you are saying it is, they will write. When the lab results come, it will paint a picture that, if the lab results paint a picture that is in consonance with what we are seeing, we will write it. And if in such a case you are seeking second opinion and I give you this and you come to say something else, it will I mean, whoever sees it will see that you are being irresponsible. And so let's try and make our work easier for both of us. Just be truthful. It doesn't hurt. It doesn't hurt. I mean, we might look at you as somebody who is irresponsible. It is in our heads. We can't even tell you. Because if I tell you, you won't come to me again.
You'll be offended.
You'll be offended. You won't come to me again. So we need to make sure that we trust each other. And I want to trust that you tell me the truth. I mean, that's what everybody is looking at. So please, let's trust ourselves. And this one is funny, but let me say it. Please, if you go to a facility or somebody comes to you, to your house, or you go to even a government facility and the person renders a service and you lose your patient, if you lose your pet or your animal, a service was rendered. No, it's yes, sometimes you look at the results, but look at the service that was rendered.
Rendered, yes.
If the person charges you fully for the service rendered, it is their right
Yes,
because they
yes,
deserve it. They worked for it.
yes. It's the well, once again, if you go to the human sector, or they say you go to a hospital, and then, as you said, God forbid, but if a family member of yours is sick and you go to hospital, you buy all the drugs, you run around, buy medications, you do labs, and the person still dies, and the hospital gives you a bill. You won't tell them that since the person died, you won't pay that bill. The hospital rendered a service unto you. You have to pay. If some hospital you don't pay, I don't know if you release the body to
The
you.
body to you
But it's a legal issue. You can be taken on
by the
legally
facility.
for not paying for the services. So, just to make it very clear, the the services you pay for from a veterinarian does not guarantee 100% that the animal should make it or should survive. So it's not the social contract. It's not that I will pay you or I'll pay for a service only if my patient or my pet or my animal survives
Survives.
or recovers. That is not the social contract. Contract is once a service is rendered, you pay for the service. They're saying that
If the vet decides to give you a waiver
yes, for that is their
own
yes,
discretion.
discretion. But apart from that, you have to make full payment when that happens.
And the thing is, this policy is standard globally. I mean, you when somebody offers you services with regards to, they incur cost in
Yes.
rendering that service. If there's nothing at all, the greatest cost and the most expensive is the time
Yeah.
they spent. And if you are paying for it, I think it's fair.
Yeah.
It's fair. Imagine you sew my dress and I tell you didn't sew it also, I won't pay you. Will you be happy? So please, let our colleagues and professionals, other professionals, and this is not just in relation to veterinarians. If somebody renders a service to you, if you think you weren't pleased, have a conversation and negotiate. And always discuss the fee upfront. Yes, I understand that there are certain things that are not fixed. Yes, there are certain things that are not fixed. But let the person give you a breakdown before they start. Because if the person finishes and they give you a bill and you can't pay, or you say you can't afford, there's a problem.
Yeah.
So have an upfront conversation. And this one goes to my colleagues as well. Please, if you are going to somebody, I beg you, give an upfront. Give a caveat. Explain your pricing.
An estimate.
Give an estimate.
Yes.
If you can't give a full figure, just give the price indexes so that the person can look at and calculate from their end.
Yes. So you can tell the person that maybe if I come every day, this is the charges.
If it's ambulatory service, this is the charges you incur.
If you come over to our clinic,
this is how much
you might go. So at least the person is prepared when the bill comes, because we live in a tough country. The country is hot at the moment, so sometimes the bill might overwhelm the client or the farmer or whoever. And so as veterinarian professionals, we also have to also look at it from that angle. But that does not also excuse what call it, the client or anyone from rendering the service. So as I said, always cut your quote according to your size. Yeah. If you know you don't have the money for a luxury service, don't call a doctor to your house. Carry your animal to either the public or the government institutions or to the private facilities where you might pay less. But if you sit at home and you call for a luxury service, believe you me, you pay for luxury. And if you don't have the money, then you have a problem. So please, let's help ourselves as both clients and then as veterinarians.
And let's give our animals a fighting chance. Stay curious and let's keep learning together. So this has been Dr. Emmanuel Boachi. With me is Dr.
Henry Asigri Abugri.
This is the Vet Podcast, redefining veterinary medicine in Ghana. And we came to you to talk about veterinary services in Ghana. I hope you've learned something. And until next time, we will see you. Have a good day, night, evening, whatever time you are watching this episode.
Bye.